Everyone. This video is about the slippery slope fallacy. Have you experienced hearing something like this? If you let your son get away with stealing that chocolate unpunished, he will go on to steal something bigger, then something bigger, and then something bigger again. There will be no turning back when this chain of events is set in motion. This is clearly an absurd argument, and its absurdity hinges on an implication that allowing your son to get away with stealing chocolate is a genuine point of no return. The slippery slope fallacy occurs when a person asserts that a relatively small step will lead to a chain of events that results in a drastic change or a negative outcome. This progression of actions or events is presented as inevitable and impossible to stop, much like the way one step on a slippery incline will cause a person to fall and slide all the way to the bottom. However, little or no evidence is presented to back up the claim. Therefore, not every slippery slope argument is flawed. There is evidence that the consequences of the initial action are highly likely to occur, then the slippery slope argument is not fallacious. Use the slippery slope fallacy as a rhetorical device to instill fear or other negative emotions in their audience. It is often used to argue against a specific decision by adopting its hypothetical, extreme consequences as if they were a certainty. This is a form of fearmongering or appeal to emotion that can be misleading because there is no proof that these extreme consequences will in fact materialize. The fallacy plays on the fears of an audience and is related to a number of other fallacies, such as the appeal to fear, the false dilemma, and the argument from consequences. Look at the picture. This is a common spread example of the slippery slope fallacy. If you let a bully come in your front yard, he will be on your porch the next day, and the day after that he will eat your babies. Have you noticed how quickly one argument brings you to total disaster after 2 or 3 steps that might not happen? How do you respond to a slippery slope fallacy? There are a number of ways you can deal with slippery slope arguments, especially when you suspect these are fallacious. Slippery slope arguments take advantage of the gray area between an initial action or decision and the possible next steps that might lead to the undesirable outcome. You can point out these missing steps and ask your partner to indicate what evidence exists to support the claimed relationship between 2 or more events. Next, you have to ask yourself if each link in the chain of events or action is valid. Every proposition has to be true for the overall argument to work, so even if one link is irrational or not supported by evidence, then the argument collapses. Sometimes people commit a slippery slope fallacy unintentionally. In these instances, use an example that demonstrates the problem with slippery slope arguments in general, for example, by using statements to reach a conclusion that is not necessarily relevant to the initial statement. By attacking the concept of slippery slope arguments, you can show that they are often fallacious. I hope that now we all will be more careful to catch various misconceptions in the process of reading or talking and not succumb to them.